As the country scrambles to tackle the electricity crisis by diversifying its energy mix, whether you talk finance and a society, a research firm, this is Krutham, that's what they called. They're warning that 120,000 jobs could be put at risk. Now, the Localisation Support Fund is holding a roundtable discussion at the IDC, that's the Industrial Development Corporation here in Sandton, to try to get to grips with ways in which to localize the transmission and distribution networks while preserving jobs. Our reporter, business reporter that is, Ntokozo Khumalo, is at these discussions and she joins us now. Ntokozo, good morning to you. So,
we will hear what that progress is or what the report actually has in store for us when it comes to localization, that transmission and distribution network in South Africa. And as you rightfully said, as we move towards diversifying the country's energy mix, there are several issues that we need to keep in mind. And to just help us set the scene a little bit, we are now joined by Tami Moetse, who is the executive head at the Localisation Support Fund. Thank you for your time this morning. Now, you've worked on this study that's really investigating localization, specifically in this sector that we've been struggling with for a long time. Talk us through what we expect to come out of this study and whether it's really connecting the dots on what needs to happen for us to see that diversified energy mix that could actually rid us of load shedding.
Thank you. So the study is The study is solving for opportunities for manufacturers in the transmission and distribution value chain. Whilst other studies have looked at generation capacity, we are saying now that we've generated, what is it that how are we going to transmit? Do we have the lines that are needed? And with those lines, what do we have capability on in the South African manufacturing space? So we then have mapped a value chain that would say this is the transmission and distribution network value chain. What components are required? Which manufacturers do we have locally that have capability of manufacturing those components? Where are the opportunities to manufacture other components that we don't have capability on? And then we also talk about challenges that we have, challenges that talk to our competitiveness, challenges that we talk to specialized skill set, things like innovation. So these are the things that will come out of today's discussion.
Now, Tami, over the last couple of weeks, I've been speaking to local manufacturers in different industries, in the built environment and so on, and they warned to be careful of the localization drive because of various obstacles such as cheap imports and so on. What sort of bottlenecks are we seeing in the energy industry, in electricity, when it comes to really boosting local manufacturers to be more active within the industry and boost their capacity?
You are correct. We do have challenges around imports that are coming into the country. And that's a function of various things, like our pricing, which is a function of interest rates and funding that we have locally. And it is also a function of capacity. So our local manufacturers are not getting the demand they so require. So if we can solve for the stability of demand, local manufacturers will be able to increase their manufacturing capacity. If we can solve for the shortage in specialized skills within the country, then we are able to boost the local manufacturing. We also need to solve for implementation of duties in some spaces that would probably assist in the cheap imports that come into the country.
So really an ongoing cycle of variable issues that need to be ironed out. And a little later on, we are actually going to Eskom, who's going to talk to us about the state of the system. But, South Africans, the one thing we anxious about is hearing, in a year, load shedding will be over. In 18 months, load shedding will be over. Talk us through really the progress that we are seeing and making when it comes to diversifying or finding the right balance in diversifying South Africa's energy mix, getting those local players in, specifically in that component manufacturing. Are we getting any closer to really seeing an end to load shedding and having the lights on for a little bit longer?
Yeah. So in terms of generation, you see a lot of work being done by Eskom, done through the IPPs in terms of renewable energy, wind, solar and other solutions that can be brought for manufacturers, especially up the value chains in both sides, generation, transmission, and distribution. They want demand. And we have capability in some components. Like in power lines, we have good capability of producing those lines. We just need to solve for capacity. Then we can produce transformers in South Africa, certain classes of them. It's big transformers that we cannot produce, but there's an opportunity to partner with larger OEMs that we can attract to come into the country. The big thing is boosting economic activity, creating the jobs that we so need as a country, and ensuring that the energy investment that is coming in does not pass our local people by.
Tammy, thank you so much for helping us set the scene there, of course, just highlighting the importance of boosting capacity and getting those local players into the value chain and bringing in that renewable energy projects and other forms of energy so that South Africa can be off load shedding much faster and get back to growing the economy equally. And later on, we are going out to that ESCOM briefing talking us through the state of the system. So we'll hear what the utility has to say in that regard. For now, it's back to you in studio.
Ntokozo Khumalo, thank you very much. Very important discussions indeed.